right. Once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is Changing of the Hip Hop Gods podcast. I am your host, Uncle E. That is my partner, the journalist Sincere. And today we have Damage from Yaggfu Front joining us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. It's a pleasure.
Definitely.
So do us a favor for those that might not know or have forgotten. If you could take us back to who you are, how the group came about, and then we'll bring it up to the current times.
All right, my name is Damage, sometimes known as Deranged and Damage from Yaggfu Front. We're a group out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We started around 1991. We're most famous for songs called Looking for a Contract, Busted Loop, and Left Field. Some of our more favorite songs. And another one I won't mention is at the end of our song that everybody likes, the end of our album. We got started working at a radio station in NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina as DJs. And we used to cut up, be on the radio from 10 to 6 in the morning, just making music and playing hip hop, doing music and stuff like that. And then we would do parties around in Raleigh, North Carolina, and different colleges, UNC, North Carolina Central, Shaw University. And we used to hang around with a lot of, people who ended up, blowing up too as well, like Lords of the Underground. So there was a real big hip hop scene in the area because hip hop was really instrumental to kind of like bring a lot of people who were down in North Carolina out. And, we had these real robust mix shows, and it was a really good time to be a part of hip hop because we were right at the cusp. Got a chance to chill with a lot of people who went on to be famous and be a big part of hip hop. So it was a really cool time, and it's very nostalgic to talk about.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about your transition from DJs to MCs?
I think somewhere along the line, we figured we should do our best to try to come up with music. And so we started getting into the studio around the same time we were working. The guys, Spin and Jingle, they already had a record out. And so we started working on one with everybody that was involved with the radio station. So we went up to we went to Virginia Beach to record at a place called Middy's Recording Studios, where we ended up doing the album. I think that we wanted to be, coming from North Carolina, we had this all-encompassing idea about hip-hop. So being a DJ, an MC, graffiti artist, like dealing with all the elements, it was all like put together here. That's why you see so many artists who come from here who are beat makers and, lyricists. It was just part of the culture. So I don't know that, we would freestyle, rap, make up songs, write on the radio live. So it was always a part of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Can you talk a little bit about you guys paying dues earlier on as MCs before the record deal? What kind of dues, shows, events did you have to do to get you guys' name out there?
I think we had a approach about doing hip hop that was different because, like I tell people, I had a paper that I was writing at the time about how to get a record deal. So we had a concept from the beginning that if we followed in the footsteps of others, we would be able to get a record deal. So we were pretty confident about that. And we definitely had flows and stuff like that. But I think that it was mostly about following a path. You know what I mean? So due paying, it wasn't really like that. We came across in an era where, it was before the internet, but we had an idea of about, a way to actually get to getting to a record deal. So it was more of, what can we do to kind of push it along? So we made like t-shirts and cassettes and CDs, and we pushed them out, made our own posters, went around, put stickers everywhere. So the kind of dues that we did were more on how to find out how to do some of the things that other people were doing through record labels, but do it ourselves business-wise. So I think because of that, that gave us an in. There was plenty of times we would get backstage or people would just think that we were someone. And you had a memorable name, Yaggfu Front. So, it was pretty effortless, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, It was more like people were surprised that somebody from North Carolina had lyrics and beats like we did, and they were pretty impressed by them. We were up to par, man. So paying dues, I think at the beginning people were a little bit like, skeptical about it, but ultimately as time went on, they could see the worth in what we were doing and the hip hop aesthetic that we provided. So it was pretty smooth sailing in terms of, comparisons to what I've heard other people go through. We didn't have those same issues. And kind of we were coming at an angle, like I was saying, from a paper standpoint, that we could do it regardless. So we kind of knew that if we, stayed the path, we would probably do well. So
right.
So what were some of the artists that you guys might have been in tune with around that time?
Well, since it was more like a hanging out kind of thing, the people that were hanging out or were around us or would come to the radio station, some were famous, some were local. But we knew R.A., the Rugged Man. Okay. Dead Prez was in the area. We knew of them and we would meet them. And let's see, Biggie was in the area. I wouldn't call him Fat Chris. My boy kept saying he called him Fat Chris, but I called him. Who else? Lords of the Underground, like Mr. Funky was my roommate. Lord Jazz, wow. Do It All. Those were people who I would consider friends, in the beginnings of hip hop. So before even, before even people got famous, we kind of had an idea that we were going to do it, and we just did it. So it was amazing to kind of see everybody kind of come together in different places all across the country. It was pretty cool. So, dope. And it still happens to this day,
Yeah, nice.
Can you talk a little bit about the name and how that came about?
We were trying to come up with different names. I think I came up with Yaggfu, the Yaggfu part, and one of the members, Perry Jones, came up with the front part. He was like, "Yeah, man, like," I was like, "What, like a storefront?" He was like, "Nah, like you're gonna, I was like, you're gonna get effed up." That was the thing. So we would like the crew to F you up. He was like, "What about adding front to it?" And I was like, like a storefront?" He was like, "Nah, like if you front, like you're gonna get effed up if you front." I was like, "Oh yeah." So then that's how it came about. And then we went, drew the logo, started going to St. Augustine's College's computer lab and hacking the Photoshop and making logos off of it and turning them into stickers and t-shirts and stuff like that. It was so innocent because we literally thought this is the way you do it. This is how you go from point A to point B, and you gotta have t-shirts, you gotta have cassettes. Not realizing we were on the cutting edge. We were like, we have to have a website. And when we got to the record label, they were like, "Well, people don't really have websites like that." I'm like, "Nah, man, you gotta understand. We can offer our music on there. We can shoot our own videos, So those things were I don't know that they were ready, but it's cool to see it happening here. The way it is in the industry today is like ease of use. You can release whatever you want. You can make merchandise whenever you want. You can do shows virtually. We have shows that we're supposed to be doing overseas. It really fits into a lot of the things that I was dreaming about, what I thought hip hop would become. So it's really cool to see.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Doing hip hop, yeah. To get a chance to take advantage of that,
Right. Something that you already had in your mind anyway.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, the technology just wasn't there.
Right.
Wasn't there yet. So, and then, we exceeded beyond it. Now we have phones that you can, make beats on, and you can literally record whole albums on your phone or on your iPad. It's amazing, man. In terms of the ease of use and the ability for you to just drop a freestyle at any given moment, that's priceless.
Right.
Priceless.
You talked about the merch early on, the logos, the stickers, the tapes. Is that tape your demo at the time? And what labels did you shop at?
Well, we were recording on 1-inch tape, trying to get it on the 2-inch. So some of the stuff that we put on the album comes directly from when we were recording in the beginning. We call ourselves releasing it. It was like, you know, we were thinking we were releasing it. So when we would come up with a cassette, we didn't think of it as a demo or how we were going to send it to anybody, because the only purpose of sending it to somebody was to try to get a record deal. And the only reason to get a record deal is to try to get them to manufacture the stuff we wanted to make. So
right.
So it was more like, hey, this is it. This is, hey, you
This
want
is the product.
this is the product. This is
Yeah.
the product. So it was innocent, but I mean, we really tried. We put out, you know, we made you know, hundreds of copies and t-shirts, and you know, people were going around wearing little we made shrinky dink pins, man. It was just all about the merchandising of Yaggfu Front, but through the music, you know.
Right.
So there was definitely a blueprint there.
Right.
I think people like appreciated us for the logos and stuff that we did too. So
Right.
that definitely was a big factor in everything.
So talk to us a little bit about the label situation. What labels did you go to? How did you get your guys' music heard, being from North Carolina?
Okay, so the concept was, hey, if you apply to 20 jobs, you guys have heard that before, right?
Right.
Then you'll get a call back. Same thing. We went on the back of record labels and wrote down people's addresses and sent them packages. We had several deals, several A&R men to come down and take a look at us. But Mercury was the one that I think offered us the most freedom and the most money at the time. So we ran with Mercury, but we got a chance to meet Dante Ross. I mean, you know, in terms of legendary names, I would say that three that stood out were, remember Son of Berserk? That might be.
Yeah.
Guys. He was on Sound of Urban Listeners record label, and they were interested in us. And Stu Fine, that sticks out in my memory.
Wild
of course,
Pitch.
went to him, yeah. And then Dante Ross came down to check us out. Elektra was also interested in us. I think we were pretty sure we were going to sign with Elektra, but we ended up with Mercury through Kenyatta Bell, who also came down to see us. So, and there were just a lot of legendary things going on at the time. Of course, it's just so many things that were going on at the time, because, you know, we would hang out. Leaders of the New School were just coming out. They came out with Case of the PTA, and we did a show early on when they were doing promo, and we kind of clicked with them, and they kind of took us under their wing, being people who just got signed. Of course, DJ Assassin knew Tribe Called Quest pretty well, and De La Soul especially. And so when they would do shows and stuff like that, we would kind of show up. So it was like so interactive, because North Carolina was becoming a place of hip hop where artists would come, so they would be able to get a chance to, you know, do promo and you know, it was a cool place to come to. You know, it seems laid back, a lot of pretty women, you know, Southern women.
Right.
So all that was mixing together, bro. It was like it was a time, you know, Wu-Tang was down. I mean, like, it was so many people that we interacted with during that time that you would be like, oh yeah, well, you know, that makes sense. But, you know, we ran through the gambit. Fugees we hung out with, maybe it was a passing thing, you know. So we were pretty generally respected and, well, you know, welcomed into the hip hop community as a North Carolina group, one of the first, you know.
Right. What was go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you could talk a little bit about the process, the recording process. How was that, the sessions?
All right, so coming from a jazz background, all three of us kind of went in with an improvisational style. We would a typical Yaggfu Front studio session would be us going in and just with a stack of records, maybe a couple blunts. We going in with the studio. It was an EMU E System Plus sampler, rack mount. We go through records until we find a really perfect loop. Try to find other records that match that same either pitch, intonation, or key. Build up the drums. It was like a little lab, man. Silence until we just heard something that was so totally crazy. Then we'd laugh out loud. Somebody would run in. We'd freestyle like most of the song, back to back to back. Like Spin said on the album, 11 to 7 every day of the week. And then, but it was more than that. It was like, we were going in, leave the, we had a beach condo at 9 in Virginia Beach. Leave there about 8 or 9 o'clock. Go to the studio, be there until late at night. Leave, go back to the beach condo, work on more beats on the ASR 10, and go back in again. So we made countless songs, but the songs that got released were the ones on the album. I think that for me, the process is with Yaggfu Front is great. It's like one of the most fun things I've ever done in life. And that has to do with the fact that we make these jazzy loops that repeat over and over again, that we dig really deep, go through children's records, jazz records, obscure stuff, and find like the perfect loop. And then we put these hardcore drums on there, and then we say whatever we want. It's really a creative experience, even to this day. I was talking to Jingle just the other day. It's really creative to be a part of a group where you got a lot of freedom, man. And you can just say what you want. It's called the flingling style. You can just spit, and it still goes hard. Like that's the reason why we had Slap and Suck the Silly. We wanted to show that you don't have to necessarily use the template of someone else's subject matter for you to make a real hip hop song. And so we pretty much deliver on that. Sometimes our stuff is a little different, or even some people are like, oh, y'all silly or whatever. But it's not really that we're silly. It's that we feel like that there needs to be a space in hip hop where you can do stuff, have freedom to be creative, So,
right.
Dope.
Before you guys went to record that album, what kind of discussions did you guys have as far as the subject matter and concept?
Man, like we have other songs. We already had a concept at the time of where you should be free to kind of talk about your own personal life or what you're going through and everything. So mostly it's been like a constant stream of consciousness kind of inspiration. So whatever's going on that day, I'm trying to think of a song that I can really give you a good example that will work. Like Busted Loop is a good one. So we had several records on deck to put together the song. We had the horn off of some record, probably from Screaming Saxes or something like that. And it was so obscure, and it was wrongly looped. If you listen closely, it's just like right off just by a tad. But it sounded like it was on in terms of the sympathy and the click. So we were like, man, that's a busted loop. I was like, yep, we're going to call it that. And that's it. So we went in and, we started piecing everything together. We would have the drums together. The bass line would come along. We'd find another bass line. Then that was from the Letterman. And we pieced all the different samples together so they were mixing back and forth and dropping and having little horn stabs here and there. And then we'd go in and freestyle the whole song. And then go back and maybe re-say it. But that was pretty much the process. So every song that you hear from Yaggfu Front, it pretty much starts off as a freestyle where somebody just was freestyling and either we record it or remember the words and some of it sticks and then we match it all together. So it's really, it's fun because it sounds so cohesive when you hear it. Sounds like we're playing the whole thing. So,
right.
How was it hard for you guys, being that you just said a lot of it was freestyle, and to start off with, was it hard to memorize your lyrics if you had to go perform?
Nah, well, I mean, not for me, because I can remember all my lyrics since I was I started rapping. I was like 8, man. I remember every single rap that I had. So once we started rapping, I'll be honest with you. Once we started rapping, I think we blanked out, bro. Like it was already in there. It's already in there. So we're authentically performing it, but it's in there, bro. It's in there. So I could do it. All the songs, shoot for soup, so the damn they can listen. I'm living in the tracks of the stacks of nitroglycerin. It's all in there like quick. And I know all their rhymes too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you said you could remember your rhymes from when you were 8.
yeah, let me tell you a little story that you know so well about the booze and the drugs and the hardcore cell. I used to know about a man who was liquor addicted, driving when drunk to WI convicted. He was celebrating when he closed the deal at his job, so he had a little wine with his meal. Then he thought to himself, hey, I need a little noise, so I'm going down to Charlie's for a drink with the boys. His wife begged him not to go because she had been thinking Ralph, you should have been driving when you had been drinking, but he went anyway, said he'd be back before morning. Little did he know he should have heeded his wife's warning. Got into the car and drove into the city, pulled in Charlie's parking lot, saw his friend Smitty. They both went inside and they both celebrated, drank so much liquor they were both inebriated, drank a lot of Miller, smoked a little killer, then went for a ride in Smitty's four-wheeler, driving down the highway going 2 miles a minute. Didn't see a car with 2 newlyweds in it. Smitty hit him in the side. The car turned over. Ralph thought to himself that it's better to be sober. Ralph had a bump on his head, but Smitty was dead, and so were the 2 young newlyweds. The moral of the story is simple and plain. Message in it for you, let it stick to your brain. What I'm saying should never be stated. Never should you drink and drive intoxicated. So that was my first rap.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I was like 8. And
Slick
I was
Rick,
like, man,
Slick
boy.
Rick influence?
Uh,
Somewhat now?
Listen, man, I'll be honest with you. Most of my stuff skips. So I got the old school people, the Curtis Blows, the Funky 4+1, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, like even King Tim. I heard King Tim when it first came out. I was like, oh, this is it. So I had an idea that this was it. And then, they slowly started integrating it into life. Mm-hmm. And so it was just the thing, hey, I'm going to start rapping, beating on the table. That's where it all comes from. And I always had an ability to make up songs. When I was little, I would just make up stupid little songs and sing them and entertain my family. So when rap came along, I was like, hey, I can do this, man. I can actually do this. This is easy for me. So I just I'm right up the street. I'm right where it started in my parents' house. Right up the street is the park that I started rapping at. Wow. Less than a quarter of a mile away from me. There was a guy named Grip, and he had a van, and he would come out with these 2 big speakers in the back, and he'd be DJing. And I was like, yeah, let me get the mic. He was like, man, you can't rap. And I said that rap and had the whole park going, oh. I'll never forget it. That was the beginning of my rap career, yeah, right there.
Yeah. You should have put that out though at some point in time, man. That's not bad.
You're not the first person to say that. In fact, the second, you're about the 5th person to say that. And I thought about it. I had a beat for it and everything. But it's so many rhymes since then that haven't come out. I'm not sure.
But how dope would it be to have your first one, even if you did like broke it up into like skits or something? You know what I mean? That's it. Listen.
I mean, I might do that.
Think about it.
I'm coming out with a solo album after Spin, and then Jingle's coming out with a solo album, and just for giggles, I might do that.
Hell yeah. Let us know.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely clue you in when it's coming. That's the whole point. Yaggfu Point is supposed to be a mystery.
What was your was the first official single on Mercury Busted Loop or Looking for a Contract?
Looking for a Contract. That was the first single.
What kind of
Happen Sucker Silly?
Okay, what was the reaction you guys got when you released that single?
Looking for a Contract changed the lives of a lot of people, apparently, because a lot of people heard that and were inspired by it. So I think that we were just kind of speaking our truth. And then years later, I met a lot of artists who felt like that was one of their integral understandings of maybe getting into it. Kind of with the same with Tribe Called Quest when they were saying industry rule number 4080, record company people are shady. That stuck through generation after generation.
Still to this day.
Right. I think there's something about Looking for a Contract did that to people. I think that the artists today that kind of saw us as a way to say, hey, I can say what I want to too. I don't have to be this way. I don't have to be that way. I can be myself and come out with music as other groups have. So right. I say that the impact that we got out of that was people understood the concept of looking for a contract. They understood that what we were saying is if you want to do that, then you're going to go through, a process. It's not going to be easy, but if you stick to it, you'll make it. Even if you got to eat oodles and noodles in the process, you know, you'll make it.
Right.
So that was the point of the song, and that's why I still enjoy that song as well. There are a lot of Yaggfu front songs, hundreds of Yaggfu front songs, but most people haven't heard them. So to revisit lately, since we were about to start coming out again, it's been a lot of revisiting of how those songs came about. So it's really good to kind of get that nostalgic vibe. But I do realize there's a gap in terms of how people see it, because they see it as this, or they see the secret tapes, and they're like, okay, well, these are the songs y'all came out with, not knowing we had a secret plan.
Right. What kind of reaction did you guys get off the second single, Slappin' Sucker Silly?
Now, what people enjoy that the most, I think, out of all of the singles for underground heads, because we were really, you know, spitting, and, you know, it was different. I think that's the record that got us signed, was Slappin' Sucker Silly. I think Kenyatta Bell said that, you know, he heard that, and, you know, he was like, yeah, you sound like a Biggie. And I was like, oh yeah, well, you know, technically. I kind of was, you know, I hesitate to say where people got influence from, but I was on the radio and I was doing my own thing, and I still rap my own way. So I'm not saying anybody was influenced in terms of what they do today, but I'm sure I had some kind of, you know, my sing-songy nature had definitely an effect on a generation of people who took it to another level. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I can't claim on any of the skills of any of these guys. I definitely feel like the type of spin we were doing back then influenced what kind of music people got later on, and even today.
Right.
We were spitting on the radio.
Right. So people were already listening to you guys.
Right. It wasn't just us. It wasn't just local artists. It was national artists that would come through and see the energy. I mean, like, even these are new school. They appreciated the show that we gave. You know, we gave energy. They were like, yeah, man, we usually don't see rappers that had the same energy as us, you know? So, and you know, it was all coming from just us working at the radio station and trying to give people their best. We didn't know, know how we could compare on a national level, nor were we comparing ourselves to a national level. I wouldn't say that any of the groups that we got a chance to meet were necessarily an influence on our particular sound, because we were like in a microcosm, you know what I mean? But because we were DJs, we did hear everybody's music. So of course we were influenced by everyone, especially New York rap. It was like authentic rap to us, boom bap. You know, KRS One, you know, Boogie Down Productions. We went through a whole era of just really pure hip hop to me. Self-destruction, a lot of stuff that came before us, you know, framed where we went.
Right.
How did you guys link up with Diamond D for the remix?
He was available. We were off tour. And we wanted to do a song with him. We were like, hey, can we do a song? He was like, yeah. So we booked the studio. He came up, he did his raps. And you know, but Diamond is a friend. Like, we went on tour, on the Mercury College tour, and he was very instrumental. I don't think I would have, if it weren't for Diamond, I probably would have like gone crazy, because who knew where to get some smoke? And he just like was always good, you know. He only smoked these little tiny joints, man. They were like really small, tiniest. And so, you know, you pass it to him, you can't hardly pull on it, you know. You know, Diamond was very instrumental to us as a group. He was very helpful with us, and very appreciative. He co-signed us big time when he did that song with us, and we appreciated it, but it was just really on some friendly nature. It wasn't anything at all. He was cool with it, and we only, if you notice, we don't do that many. We haven't done many features, even though we have been offered to do a lot. It has to be natural. We're kind of like a vibe, kind of,
right? You
know, and it really helps to really be authentically into hip hop to want to do music with us.
Right. You guys also, like you said, released a Busted Loop and the last single, Left Field. At what point do you see the album take off as far as momentum?
Well, Busted Loop was a big momentum for us because it really propelled us to go on tour and everything. That was the big speakers on the back of the Jeep in the video. People really were still feeling looking for a contract and slapping sucker silly. I think Left Field is one of the greatest songs that we did, but it was more of a record label choice. Just hold on. It was more of a record label choice, I would say. And but ultimately it was probably the best choice. It's a song that gives a lot of people a lot of nostalgia. The beat on that is probably one of the best hip hop beats that we have, and innovative as well. So most of our momentum, as soon as we started, even before our single drop, we had a lot of momentum from doing shows before people even knew who we were, and doing our best to take over the show to win over the audience. So that's what we were known for around that time when those releases were coming out. So as sales started coming in and we started doing more shows, I think that I just saw us kind of like elevating all the way up to the point of where okay, so as I said, it was about a paper. I don't think we were ever interested in becoming full-time hip-hop artists the way that people saw it. It was a thing that we were doing to prove a point, which is if you can be original and still get a record deal if that's your goal. We also wanted to show there were other ways you could actually, accomplish that goal.
Right.
So when it came time to choosing what did we want to do, we would continue our pursuits outside of hip-hop, on a national scale, or releasing on a major record label, or did we want to stay authentic? I think that was a big factor. So that's one of the things that people don't quite understand. They go, well, you guys were good enough, to make it, to go further. Like, we expected more from you, but I'm not sure if that was our goal, and if it should have been our goal, because to this day, if you hear our music today, it sounds authentic. It's not like, how you have older groups and then they come back out and all of a sudden their sound is different, slightly different. They're still dope. Their flows are still dope. They just don't sound exactly the same.
Right.
We're like locked in. We're locked in, bro. Right. I mean, like, what I'm saying, grit your teeth locked in. So I say that that's really what we're hoping to bring back to the game in 2022, which is, if you're still hoping on the inside that you've got that, if you remember that vibe that you had, if you remember being in a party and they're playing Jimmy by KRS-One, it's like the J, the I, the M, the M, the Y, the J, the I, the M, and the whole crowd, the DJ turns the crossfader, Jimmy, right? Right. So we want to try to use what energy we have to bring that vibe back out. That's the best way to put it.
When that album finally dropped, what kind of reaction did you get from your peers, the consumers, everyone as a whole?
I would say that back then and even to this day, it was epic. I think if you listen to the album from beginning to end, especially, it's an epic album. It's an experience. I think we succeeded in giving a cinematic visual to an audio album. And so the Source liked it. They gave us like 3.5 mics. Plenty of we got plenty of critics who liked it. I wasn't sure exactly whether or not we were going to make huge sales from the beginning. I was like, hey, we're from North Carolina. So we were happy with the sales that we got. Coming from an era where things didn't sell as much back then, I thought we did pretty good. And even to this day, it still sells. So, it just depends on how you look at it. Were we there to be indoctrinated into, the music industry, quote unquote, or be a part of whatever, like we weren't the groupie kind of guy. We weren't sex, drugs kind of rappers, none of that. So, were we looking to get any of that out? Were we going to switch over and become, former, versions of ourselves? None of that happened. So, right. It depends on what are you listening to hip hop for, bro? Are you listening to hip hop to to see someone rise to meteoric heights, get all the money and have all the women in the cars, or you look it that's great. For us, you look to us, are they gonna rip it? Are you gonna put us on par with people who can rip it, completely kill the microphone? Yeah. So what do you want in hip hop? The question of a lot of kids that are adults will come back around again, like, what is this about again? That's my belief. What is this about? Is it about you wanting to be the greatest MC you can be? Or is it about sales and statistics and algorithms and streams? I'm hoping that we will be rewarded with new fans who want authentic hip hop, and we're counting every single one of them. So that's our goal. Our goal is to hit you with some hip hop that will make you feel nostalgic and fresh at the same time.
Right.
And I'm not pitching to you. I'm just telling you what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like I'm trying to say anything else but what's going down,
If you don't mind, Sincere, real quick. So lately, we usually have a question that I save for the end, but I kind of want to ask you that now, if that's okay, Sincere, just because of what you've been talking about just now. And that is, hip hop will be turning 50 soon. What are your thoughts and take on that? And based on what you were just saying, it kind of ties right into that. But I just wanted to get your take on it.
I got a take on it. So I think that corporations bring in ageism in terms of all music media. You got the Rolling Stones still going around here, right? But we don't have that. You've heard that countless times. You don't have that in a hip hop way. But hip hop is geared towards success, statistics, a corporate way of looking at it. Real hip hop heads, they want to hear the flow. They want to hear the quality of the sample, the looping, the drums. They want to hear that thump when they hear the music. All of those things don't necessarily go together all the time. My favorite artist is the guy, whose mask is right behind you, bro. MF Doom. I knew him around that same time too, but it wasn't the same guy. So you do have the ability to reinvent yourself. MF Doom is someone that people hold up to as authentic hip hop, right? But how old was he? Doesn't matter. What did he look like? Doesn't matter. Right. What are his sales? Doesn't matter. The people with the most sales would kill to have a record with MF Doom. But the people that he did records with kill records.
Right.
So, with him gone, I would hope that maybe we could, maybe like try to fill. There's no way to fill that dude's shoes, but there's just not that many, in my opinion. There's a limited amount of hip hop that has a vibe like that. And so that was one of the big motivators with him passing. That was one of the big motivators for us to perhaps try to fill not his shoes, but a little gap that's in there. You know what I mean? Authentically.
I just want to say then, for me, to you, that's very dope that you just said that. Just so you know, I am part of the Get Yours posse, who's GYP, if you remember.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that I grew up with him.
Yeah,
to hear you say that, I just want to let you know from us to you, thank you very much.
I appreciate that, bro. Big time, man. You can tell I'm super authentic, man. I don't mean nothing but the truth. And everybody that's known me for all these years from beginning day one, I'm not one of those people. I am the same guy, with growth and age, but I'm saying I'm the same guy. And my goals are very simple. I believe in the moment of hip hop. I believe in the energy of hip hop. I believe in the transformative nature of hip hop. I believe in the transformative nature of hip hop in the lives of individuals, especially marginalized youth all across the world. And so that's what I support, bro. And someone like Doom, hugely influential to the whole sphere of it. You know what I mean? And you know, I can only pay homage to him in terms of what he did for me to keep that vibe going live. You know, we can name Madlib, we can name all the people that I could go down right now and list. But I think that it's an obvious thing to a true hip hop head. It's not, it's within, you know, within seconds, you know. You hear that drum hit, that hi-hat hit, that snare hit, you hear that flow hit. That's it. Are you, yo, this is dope. I'm with this like instantly. And I need that. I'm contacting as many of the 90s artists that I know and telling them I got these Yaggfu beats. And you already know I'm coming with that heat, but that tap that some people have is missing, bro. The golden era tap of the fingers. And I still got it. And I would love to work with some of these artists just on GP. Like, yo, if you appreciate us because our beats, a lot of people liked our lyrics, but they loved our beat. If they want, then you know, I can give them some heat too, just on the humble. Let's put out, you know, let's put out something that the people need. So
right.
that's just my perspective on it. And I know there are others out here, other beat makers that fit that description as well. So I ain't taking nothing away from them. I just want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Very dope. Very dope.
Back to that first album. Take us back to your favorite tour lineup and maybe a favorite tour memory during this time.
Lots of good memories. Fights. Crazy stuff in the hotel. Memories. Best memory. I think we did a show in Soho. And even though Spin kind of threw his shoulder out, that's how hard we were going. And then after that, I think we went to a pizzeria called Two Boots. I think we only did like 3 songs in there, but it was a posh place with a lot of models and something Mercury had set up, and didn't expect us to rock it. Small room, and we wrecked it, man. We wrecked it, and then like immediately left. They were like, why'd y'all leave? There was more, you know, stuff. We were like, man, we were hungry. And went across the street to get pizza at this place called Two Boots. And they happened to have, they were like a cross, it was a fusion New Orleans Italian pizzeria. Wow. And they had crawfish pizza. I remember it was so hot it burnt the roof of my mouth like Captain Crunch.
That's how you know it's good pizza.
Yeah, man. I mean, like out of all those shows, that little small show still has stuck with me. It's just one of those things where we breezed through, knocked it out, went and go get some pizza, man. It was crazy.
So, favorite memory of the Wake Up Show?
We were freestyling. Who was there? Everybody was there. So you know, it was like KDay or something like that. Mm-hmm. Everybody was there. Every rapper who was anybody was there that day, and everybody came up to freestyle. So I can't go into too many details. There's a lot of wild stuff going on, but ultimately, just getting a chance to freestyle on that day, and they even put me on the tape of where they, you know, they commemorized it. That was really dope, man. Like that was a really dope day. That was my favorite. That was my favorite radio station appearance, of course, because every rapper in existence was there at the station, bro. It was crazy. Legendary. I was glad to be a part of it.
That was a great time to be alive, sounds like.
Man, the vibe was just so incredible. I remember my only regret was not getting up with the Fugees. I only saw them like once in a hotel, and they were like, "Oh, it's Yaggfu from front," and I was so appreciative because, you know, Lauryn Hill was fine. And she was like, yeah, I want to see these guys perform tonight. And I was just like, you know, immediately starstruck. I was like, oh man, Lauryn Hill said that? God, we got to kill her tonight. So, you know, there are a lot of good memories, but I'll be honest with you. We were so focused on what we were doing, I think we missed a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even like we were gone or smoking too much. It was just more like we really have a goal. A long-term goal, and we wanted to solidify it and then kind of disappear, bro.
Right. Did you guys ever do the stretch in Bobito?
We did that too. A lot of this stuff I'm gonna go find because I've seen it online and probably posted somewhere. but we did Freestyles there too. We did Stretch and Bobbito. We did BET. We did MTV, even though I don't think it was aired. We pretty much ran the gambit during that time. Video Music Box, you know.
Right.
All of that stuff was a part of the media scrum or whatever you want to call it, where you had to go around and do a lot of those things. But I mean, we went to Jack the Rapper. We went to the Real Freaknik, you know.
Nice.
The Atlanta celebration, stuff like that.
Right.
It's just it was amazing, man. New music seminar, just all of the stuff that was back then. It was just like, you know, hey, if you hit this mark, this is where you know you'll go next, you know.
Right.
But you know, we were a crazy, wild and crazy group, man. It was really fun. The most fun part is getting back together with these guys. We just recently got back together last year.
Yeah, talk a little bit about talk a little bit about the discussions. How did that all come about to reunite?
I just got sick of it. I started pressuring the guys. I was like, hey man, look, have y'all got your ASCAP checks lately? We were like, there's something going on here. Y'all sure y'all want to release some of our old material? So we started gathering up our old material. Then Spin was working on a solo joint. So I was like, well, why don't we start a record label? And then Jingle said, well, I've got all these songs right here. I was like, well, man, I'm slacking. I need to get on it. So I started producing again. But this was all about us looking to release a re-release of the Secret tapes, which we did with a record label out in the UK called Chop Herring. And
Right.
so people began to ask us for more stuff. And you know, we had to sit back and think about it for a second. Like, is it better to just hold on to this stuff for prosperity? I enjoy listening to it. I know it's dope. Are we doing it? Are people going to think, oh, well, you guys don't think you can make it anymore? You know, a lot of the tropes that go with old groups, it's none of that, bro. It's none of that. It's simply we're doing our own thing. We're just that type of rap group. We continue to rap. We've been making music for years. We got secret albums hidden all over the web. Like, so it's kind of different to, you know, speak on this stuff, because the whole plan was just to continue to rap with it and stay authentic. You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
And I think that at this time right now, it's easier for us to stay authentic without having to worry about selling out, not worry about selling stuff, or, you know, how many record sales we get, because we have a core number of fans that are interested in what we do, and they enjoy what we do up until this day, and they're very excited about us coming out with more music. I don't know. I'll be the first to say it out of the group, man. It's worth gold, straight gold, because you know, you don't know where everybody is now. You got people who are in the industry now, the Yaggfu front fans, who would champion us, you know, knowing that we didn't have that many sales, or they're just championing us on the skill. So what can we do with it? And you know, we've developed other skills over time that would fit right into it. So this is another experiment, just like it was the last time, bro. It's about, you know, do the same theories that we had previously fit today. And I'm very confident that they do, bro.
Right.
The songs that we have, the songs that Spin has are great, incredible. Songs that Jingle has are incredible. I ain't gonna say whether or not my songs are incredible or not, but they're definitely dope. They're dope. It's dope. So it's a lot of strong material, and we're gonna use that to springboard, maybe getting us some extra money, so that instead of us like just haphazardly putting it together and be some crap, help us pay what we would normally get in money, right? Because everybody has real big time jobs.
Right.
Yeah, let's get up enough fans and be like, hey, let us take off for a couple months. That'll give us time to go ahead and knock it out, and that'll be enough to make sure everything happens. And then you guys get the album that you want, instead of just it being some propped up situation. I don't want to give anybody anything that doesn't deliver exactly what they expect. I recently got you know, Onyx came out with 1993.
Right.
Okay, I'm 100% down with that. I wish that I could have produced it in my head. Along with the production skill, and I got the vibe and everything. The reason why I say that is because somehow, some way, in my own head, I believe I can emulate everything. I listen to what machines they used. Some of the beats that we lost in the flood. I have gone back from then and recreated them in 2022. You know, so I have a photographic memory. So I'm not actually diagnosed, just in my head I have one. But I can remember samples, how the tempo, the pitch, remake the whole thing. And everybody in the group is talented like that. Don't get it twisted, not just me. Everybody's a beat maker in their own right. But I'm frozen. My mind is frozen in golden era beat style. So whether it be ASR 10 or now I'm making beats on my phones, I literally have, I don't even have them in front of me. But I have like 11, 12 iPhones sitting here, bro. Oh, seriously. Look, I'm not even joking. And I make beats on all these things. Like I done gone through the 6, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 11. You know what I mean? Like, and I do all my beat making on them now. But and then I can mix them together, like through Ableton Link. I can do like 128 tracks if I wanted to. I still just do the same 16 tracks like off of the ASR. So the stuff that I'm not repping the other guys. Like Torrin's got Spin's got a whole studio in his crib. Jingle's got all the equipment he needs in the crib. So now when you're in the sphere of Apple, then you can just send stuff back and forth through iMessage, lyrics. You can put it all on a family library or a family folder. It's the same process. It's just 2022, bro. Right, and it's streamlined, easy. Like what used to take us months to be able to do, we can do within days. So I'm really enjoying it, man. The technology is it. It's just like taking the old ideas and just applying them to today. Right. I can't deny.
The technology finally caught up with your brains.
Listen, man, we were definitely futuristic. The stuff that we had in our minds, it didn't even happen until like just in the past 10 years. So, we didn't know that. We figured it was right around the corner, So, right. Ultimately, I'm impressed by any artist that's been able to Nipsey Hussle. I'm just telling you people that, I have in mind that fit the aesthetic of what Yaggfu Front wants to do. People who sell NFTs as music, or what Wu-Tang Clan did with their one album, is more of the aesthetic that we thought artists should be able to be paid directly. I was on a podcast recently. I used the term farm to table hip hop. Straight through. Right, I make it right here, or wherever I'm at, really, and then boom, it's to you, mastered, ready to be mixed, sent, put on record, the whole nine.
Wow. Before we get out of here, can you give us a timeline of what's going on with the group as far as solo, and when will we get that Yaggfu Front project?
Yeah, Spin is coming out. He has a 3-song EP that's coming out. He has more songs with an album coming out. We have about 5 different solo collabs coming out over the next few months. Jingle's coming out with a few singles. I know he has one with me that I produced. Spin's got a song that I produced, but they're doing the majority of their production. They have other people that are producing for them as well. And for me, I'm not sure, because we have a record label called Unknown Planet, unknownplanet.org. And with that, we have an artist named Jay Gray, and he's really dope. And so throughout the summer, I'm trying to figure out there's so many dope records that we have. I want them all to breathe, but I'm ready to, it's March, April, May, June, July. It's only like 2 months till summertime. And it's either one of two things is going to happen, man. Either you'll see a slow release of everything until we build up to action-packed adventure, or I'm just going to everything.
Right. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for everything you've done for the culture. We are excited that you guys are making new music. and you're back together. Before we get out of here, can you shout out your social media and where we can keep up with you guys at?
Okay, well, it's Yaggfu Front on everything except for Instagram, which is official Yaggfu, because there's some joker just got the Yaggfu Front name, but Instagram said they're going to straighten that out for us. Check us out on all social media, and we're also starting a YouTube channel where we'll be dropping special songs, things you would not normally see. There'll be a special link inside our Instagram bio where you can link to even more secret Yaggfu stuff. So if you're a Yaggfu fan or you've never heard of us, you should really check us out. I think you'll be happy in the end.
Very dope, very dope. Any last words, Uncle E?
No, man, just listening to you and getting to know a little bit more about the backstory to the group and everything makes us more of a fan, right? Because hey, sometimes you don't know somebody's story. Like you said, some people might think, damn, what happened? They put out an album, then they disappeared. What's going on? But it makes a lot of sense, man. So changing the hip hop guards.
Squash that for us, bro. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, yeah, like it's not like that at all. I can understand, man. We got to rethink what hip hop is really all about. I mean, just let that be my closing word for you, bro, because we do a lot of thinking about artists, in terms of their own personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually is never like that in terms of my experience. It really has gotten to a point of where maybe we need to assert that rap is something you do and hip hop is something you live. A very wise man said that, right? But ultimately, if you're living hip hop, man, like it's kind of like being in the Twilight Zone, bro. So what people think about you, for any artist that might ever see this and want to take advice from what we used to call ourselves the new school, but the old school, new school guys,
right?
And don't worry about anything that anybody says. You got to live your life, and if you're really into hip hop, it will sustain you, because clearly we didn't sell that much. We're still getting checks. But ultimately, I say that do what was right in terms of your heart. That way you can have longevity. Because I have no question at all that people who loved us back then are going to love us now. But if you never heard of us, you have to listen, because it's just good hip hop. And who doesn't like good hip hop, bro?
Hey, that's why we love to have you on Changing of the Hip Hop Guards, man. Thank you for taking the time. I know you got another one coming up right behind us.
Oh, yeah, for sure, bro. I appreciate you guys for bringing me in. And I'm
absolutely
looking for great things from you from the future. And
absolutely
look forward for our music coming in the future. And thanks for bigging up Yaggfu Front once again, bro.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you for the opportunity. Let's keep in touch. This has been Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner E, and that is Damaged and Deranged from Yaggfu Front. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you too, guys. You have a good one.
All right. Peace.
You too.
Peace.